I just wanted to share some updates and kind of just start posting the different systems that are in the mech game so people can check this out or look at it or whatever. So for this first episode, I'm going to go over the Gatling gun system that I created for this mech game that I've been working on. So here's it in motion, and then I'll walk through the steps as it's going on. So this is what it looks like in gameplay. As we get closer, farther away. And I wonder if I can shoot any of the other players that are, there we go. You can kind of see the tracers going. Okay, so let me walk through my thought process on designing this. So my weapons within this mech game, they all derive from a joint parent class, which is just the weapon base. And then they're broken into a receiving end and a barrel end. So this is the parent. It just has on event tick, it's constantly going to look in front of the player and locate a point that's 5,000 units away. And then it's just going to store that point. Then we have of these three empty custom events: begin firing sequence, activate and deactivate. These will just be called from within these child classes. So for the Gatling gun itself, we have several mini things going on. For the shooting, whenever the fire bullet sequence is called, it's just going to check to see if a round is chambered, because these have an internal cooldown because they fire in tandem. What it's going to do is it's going to get that aim vector from the parent class that's it's constantly checking for. And then depending on the distance from that aim vector and the muzzle location, it's going to create just like a scaling randomized bloom effect. And then so I do a sphere trace because I personally like sphere traces more than line traces for first person shooters. I believe in, giving more than making things a little bit harder. So the sphere trace is just going to expand. The endpoint is going to expand the farther away that point is. And that's how I get that like spreading effect. And when you're close, it's going in there. The bullet test, this is just the tracers that you were seeing earlier. They're just visuals. It's a static mesh with a scene component and a Niagara emitter that I made put onto it. And the reason why it has the static mesh is because they bounce off of the surface. And so after they bounce once, then they shrink and dissolve themselves. And once the line trace hits, a mech or other character, then it just applies a base damage to them. The other thing that you may have noticed is that the weapons spool up faster and spin based on how long you've held the trigger down. So how I'm doing that is I'm doing the pulling from event tick, and it's checking the owner. This is a validated get for the owner. And if it's true, it's going to see how long the trigger has been held down. And slowly but surely, it's going to turn off, or it's going to fire a bullet, which is going to unchamber around. And then it's going to wait for the fire rate modifier, and then it's going to rechamber around. And so that fire rate modifier is how long you've held the trigger down from this mech. So we're setting that here. At minimum, it's 0, and at max, it's 4. So it spins up 4 times as fast. And then it's going to go to the barrel component and spin it like so. And depending if you're on the left hand or the right hand, it will spin in opposite directions. So you can spin them together or in this. And that's just the design that I made for my Gatling guns.